When you drive across America, some dangers are not marked on any sign. You are cruising down a two-lane highway, the sun dipping below the horizon, and your gaslight flickers on. The nearest town looks peaceful enough. Rows of quiet porches, a sleepy main street, maybe even a historic town square. But in these places, silence is not a sign of peace. It is a warning. We tend to think danger is loud. The sirens in Chicago, the headlines in Detroit, but the real nightmares often come from places you have never heard of. Small towns torn apart by economic collapse and generational trauma, where stopping at a gas station becomes a calculated risk. From the rusted industrial skeletons of Bessemer to the statistical nightmare of Monroe, we are counting down 7 towns so volatile that do not stop is not just advice. It is a survival strategy. Number 7. Bessemer, Alabama. Bessemer, Alabama sits just 15 miles southwest of Birmingham, close enough to see the glow of the city lights on the horizon, but far enough away to feel like another world entirely. This is a city of approximately 25,000 residents, and according to FBI crime data released in 2025, it records 87 incidents per 1,000 residents. That translates to a 1 in 11 chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime in any given year. The violent crime rate tells an even darker story. Analysis from Neighborhood Scout places Bessemer among the top 100 most dangerous cities in the United States. Residents face a 1 in 58 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime annually. For a city this size, those numbers are not just high, they are extraordinary. Bessemer was not always this way. Founded in 1887 and named after steel pioneer Henry Bessemer, this city was built on iron and steel. For decades, massive furnaces lit up the night sky. The steel industry employed thousands. Families built middle-class lives around factory shifts and union wages. Then the industry collapsed. By the late 20th century, steel production had moved elsewhere or disappeared entirely. The jobs vanished. The population began to decline. What remained was infrastructure built for a city twice its size. Today, the landscape is dominated by rusted industrial structures that loom over residential neighborhoods like prehistoric skeletons. The poverty rate hovers near 30%. With a weakened tax base, the city struggles to maintain basic services. Streets are potholed. Lighting is inconsistent. Public services are stretched impossibly thin. In 2019, the financial website 24/7 Wall Street named Bessemer Alabama's worst city to live, and based on a combination of crime rates, poverty levels, and economic indicators. That designation was not sensationalism. It was mathematical reality. Gas stations in Bessemer operate behind reinforced glass. Many close before dark. Locals know which neighborhoods to avoid entirely. This is not about individual acts of violence. It is about a community built for prosperity that now struggles with the systematic erosion of hope. Number 6. Saginaw, Michigan. Saginaw, Michigan sits in the heart of what was once America's automotive empire. This is a city of approximately 44,000 residents that has seen better days. Much better days. According to recent FBI crime data, Saginaw experiences a crime rate of 4,169 per 100,000 residents. That is 79% higher than the national average. The violent crime statistics are what earned Saginaw its place on this list. In 2024, the city recorded 925 violent crimes, translating to 2,119 per 100,000 people. That is 473% higher than the national average. Recent FBI statistics ranked Saginaw as the 3rd most violent city in the United States and the most violent in Michigan. Your chance of becoming a victim of violent crime in Saginaw is 1 in 43. In 2024, Saginaw recorded 20 homicides. The city has experienced over 180 murders in the past decade, reflecting deep-seated challenges that go far beyond simple crime statistics. This is a city plagued by gun violence, gungi activity, and the systematic collapse of its economic foundation. Saginaw was built on automobile manufacturing. For generations, the factories provided not just employment but identity. When those factories closed or relocated, they took with them the entire economic ecosystem that sustained the community. What followed was not renewal. It was decay. The poverty rate remains elevated. Police departments struggle with recruitment and retention. Between 2001 and 2023, the number of police officers in Michigan declined by 19%. For cities like Saginaw, where crime continues to exceed national averages, this creates a dangerous gap between need and capacity. Gas stations throughout Saginaw operate with visible security measures. Many require prepayment for fuel. Bulletproof glass separates customers from cashiers. These are not precautions. They are necessities. Mayor Brenda Moore acknowledged in August 2025 that the city must continue to focus on minimizing violence and crime, partnering with law enforcement and local nonprofits to strengthen efforts. The statements and intentions do not change the fundamental reality. Saginaw is dangerous. The statistics prove it, and anyone passing through should understand the risk. Number 5A, Alexandria. Louisiana, Alexandria. Louisiana is a small city of approximately 43,000 residents, located in the central part of the state. Despite its modest size, Alexandria consistently reports some of the highest violent crime rates in Louisiana and the nation. With a crime rate of 84 per 1,000 residents, Alexandria has one of the highest crime rates in America when compared to all communities of all sizes. According to Neighborhood Scout's analysis of FBI crime data, your chance of becoming a victim of violent crime in Alexandria is 1 in 51. The violent crime rate is one of the highest in the nation across communities of all sizes. In 2024, the city recorded 16 homicides. The murder rate places Alexandria among cities with one of the higher murder rates in the nation when population size is considered. Property crime is equally concerning. Your chance of becoming a victim of property crime in Alexandria is 1 in 16. The city has one of the highest rates of motor vehicle theft in the nation, according to FBI crime data analysis. Your chance of getting your car stolen if you live in Alexandria is 1 in 190. The overall crime rate in Alexandria is 248% higher than the national average. Daily crimes in Alexandria are 2.63 times more than the Louisiana state average, and 3.67 times more than the national average. Violent crimes committed on a daily basis are 3.60 times more than the Louisiana average, and 5.42 times more than the average nationwide. Alexandria's challenges are rooted in economic factors. The city struggles with poverty rates exceeding 35%. Unemployment remains elevated. Many neighborhoods show signs of long-term disinvestment. The city's location in central Louisiana places it along major transportation corridors, which has created both opportunities and challenges related to drug trafficking. Local law enforcement is understaffed and underfunded relative to the challenges they face. While city officials have recently touted declining crime trends and emphasized efforts to combat gun violence, the fundamental statistics remain deeply concerning. Recent reports ranked Alexandria as the 6th most dangerous city in the United States for 2025. Gas stations and convenience stores vary widely in their safety profile. Those along major highways near interstate exits tend to be better maintained and more secure. Those in residential neighborhoods may lack adequate lighting or security measures. Locals recommend avoiding certain areas of the city entirely after dark. Number 4. Monroe. Louisiana, Monroe. Louisiana sits in the northern part of the state along the Washita River. With a population just under 47,000, it is an industrial town built around paper mills and manufacturing. Monroe also faces extraordinary crime challenges that place it among the most dangerous cities in America. According to recent crime data, Monroe experiences a violent crime rate of 2,737 per 100,000 people. This ranks in the bottom 10% of all U.S. cities that reported crime. Your chance of being a victim of violent crime in Monroe is 1 in 37. The city recorded 80 murders in a recent year, equating to 38 murders per 100,000 residents. This is one of the nation's highest murder rates among cities reporting crime data. Property crime is equally severe, with a property crime rate of 6,722 crimes per 100,000 people. Monroe has the distinction of being among the bottom 10% of all U.S. cities. One's chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime in Monroe is 1 in 12. Within Louisiana, more than 100% of communities have a lower crime rate than Monroe. Neighborhood Scout's analysis found that Monroe has one of the highest rates of motor vehicle theft in the nation. Your chance of getting your car stolen if you live in Monroe is 1 in 225. Multiple crime analysis sites rank Monroe as safer than 0% of Louisiana cities, and 0% compared to all other cities across America. Monroe's economic foundation has always been industrial. Paper mills and manufacturing provided employment for generations. As industry declined and automated, jobs became scarcer. The poverty rate exceeds 30%. The median household income lags significantly behind state and national averages. The violent crime rate in Monroe is 5 times higher than the national average. Daily crimes in Monroe are 2.71 times more than the Louisiana average and 3.60 times more than the national average. Research conducted through community surveys demonstrates that overnight hours are particularly dangerous, with more than 80% of residents avoiding walking alone after dark. Gas stations throughout Monroe operate with heavy security measures. Many close early in the evening, Residents have developed a keen awareness of which streets, neighborhoods, and times of day carry elevated risk. This is not paranoia. This is survival. Number 3. East Street. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis, Illinois sits directly across the Mississippi River from downtown St. Louis, Missouri. You can see the Gateway Arch from certain streets in East St. Louis. The proximity to that monument of westward expansion does not translate to shared prosperity. Instead, East St. Louis represents one of America's most dramatic examples of urban collapse. The city peaked in 1950 with a population of over 82,000. As of the 2020 census, the population had fallen to 18,469. That is less than 1/4 of what it was 70 years ago. By 2024, estimates placed the population even lower, continuing a decades-long pattern of exodus. East St. Louis has historically struggled with some of the highest crime rates in the nation. In 2013, the city recorded a per capita homicide rate approximately 18 times the national average. That was the highest of any U.S. city that year. While recent years have shown some improvement, the fundamental challenges remain severe. According to data from 2019, East St. Louis recorded 37 homicides in a city of approximately 26,000 residents. This translated to a homicide rate roughly 28 times the national average. Census data indicates that 56% of families with children under 18 live in poverty. The median household income is under $25,000. Unemployment approaches 20%. East St. Louis was once an industrial powerhouse. Meatpacking plants, stockyards, and manufacturing facilities employed tens of thousands. The decline followed the pattern seen across America's Rust Belt. Factories closed, jobs left, and investment dried up. What remained was a community without an economic foundation. In 1989, a housing and urban development official referred to East St. Louis as the most distressed small city in America. That assessment, made over 35 years ago, still resonates today. The infrastructure reflects decades of disinvestment. Abandoned buildings line major streets. Many residential areas lack adequate street lighting. Emergency services are understaffed. Gas stations in East St. Louis operate with extreme security measures. Bulletproof glass separates customers from cashiers. Many require payment before pumping. Locals advise visitors to travel through during daylight hours only and to avoid stopping unless absolutely necessary. Number 2. Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey sits directly across the Delaware River from Philadelphia. It is a city of approximately 72,000 people packed into less than 9 square miles. For decades, Camden held the grim distinction of being one of America's most dangerous cities. Morgan Quitno Press ranked Camden as the most dangerous city in the United States in 2004, 2005, and 2009. According to FBI data from 2024, Camden recorded a crime rate of 45 per 1,000 residents. Neighborhood Scouts analysis found that Camden has one of the highest crime rates in America compared to all communities of all sizes. Residents face a 1 in 22 chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime. The violent crime rate remains elevated despite recent improvements. In 2024, residents had a 1 in 73 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime, with robbery and aggravated assault being the most common offenses. The city recorded 17 murders in 2024, down from 30 in 2023 and far below the peak years of the 2000s and early 2010s. This progress came after dramatic restructuring. In 2013, Camden disbanded its entire police department and created a new Camden County Police Department with a focus on community policing. Between 2014 and 2024, violent crime dropped 50%, with homicides, robberies, and burglaries down approximately 72%. According to the Camden County Police Department, violent crime in the first half of 2025 was down 12% from the previous year, reaching the lowest levels in 50 years. Despite these improvements, Camden remains a city of stark contrasts. The waterfront area has been revitalized with new development and heavy police presence. But move a few blocks inland, and the challenges become immediately apparent. Central and northwestern Camden continue to experience high rates of property crime. Car break-ins are common. Opioid-related emergencies remain a persistent problem. The poverty rate exceeds 40%. Unemployment continues to challenge residents. Many neighborhoods still bear the scars of decades of disinvestment. Gas stations operate with visible security measures. Locals advise awareness of your surroundings, especially after dark. Camden is a city working to shed its dangerous reputation. But that process takes time, and until it is complete, travelers should understand the risks that remain. Number 1. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee is a major American city, home to over 620,000 residents. It is also, according to the most recent FBI crime data, the most dangerous major city in the United States. Memphis earns the top spot on this list not because it is a small town, but because it represents the extreme end of the spectrum of American urban violence. In 2024, Memphis recorded an overall crime rate of 9,764 per 100,000 people. That is 317% higher than the national average. The violent crime rate was 2,501 per 100,000 residents, approximately 652% higher than the national average. These are not just numbers. They translate to real risk. Residents of Memphis have a 1 in 40 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime in any given year. Memphis experienced 15,318 incidents of violent crime in 2023, including 341 murders, 1,957 robberies, and 12,741 aggravated assaults. The murder rate alone places Memphis among the deadliest cities in America. The most dangerous neighborhoods include Downtown, Parkway, Village Oakahaven, and Berkeley Highland Heights, where violent crime occurs at rates that exceed even the city's already elevated average. Memphis's challenges stem from multiple sources. The city has struggled with generational poverty, particularly in historically African American neighborhoods. The poverty rate exceeds 25%. Unemployment remains high. Educational outcomes lag state and national averages. Gun violence is a persistent crisis. Gangs operate openly in certain neighborhoods. Drug trafficking fuels much of the violent crime. The Memphis Police Department faces its own challenges. Officer retention is difficult. Morale has suffered. Response times in certain areas can stretch beyond acceptable limits. Gas stations in certain Memphis neighborhoods operate like fortresses with bulletproof glass, armed security, and restricted access. Many businesses close before sunset. Memphis presents a paradox. The city has world-class attractions. Graceland, Beale Street, the National Civil Rights Museum. These tourist areas maintain heavy security and are generally safe during daylight hours. But venture beyond the tourist corridors, and Memphis reveals its harder edges. Memphis tops this list because it represents what happens when economic inequality, systemic poverty, gun violence, and institutional challenges converge in a single location. When people think of dangerous American cities, they might imagine Chicago or Baltimore. But the statistics clearly show that Memphis surpasses them both. These 7 locations represent a broader pattern across America. Economic decline, deindustrialization, systemic poverty, and limited opportunity create environments where crime flourishes not because people are inherently dangerous, but because desperation makes violence more common. The residents of these towns and cities are not the enemy. Most are hardworking people, trying to build lives in difficult circumstances. But the statistics do not lie, and travelers need to be informed. When you see a quiet town from the highway, remember that silence does not always mean safety. Sometimes it just means absence. The absence of opportunity, of investment, of hope. These places exist, they are real, and they are a part of America's story, whether we want to acknowledge them or not.